It's a show time.
Hello honeys, I've collected all 40 exclusive Spicy Ageha Coords featured in the mobile game Aikatsu Photo on Stage, and I put them all together for you. Enjoy! 40 Romantic Red. Don't let Romantic Red fool you, it's a Photokatsu exclusive recolor of the Romantic Fur Coord, and it still has those terrible furry boot snakes for some reason. That detail is too bizarre for me to overlook, the boots really creep me out. 39 Cattleya Lady. I had to look up what Cattleya meant for Cattleya Lady, and it turned out to be a type of orchid, which I thought would explain the weird orange patch in the middle of the skirt, but I couldn't find any pictures that matched this outfit. This one is down here just for that skirt patch. It looks incredibly strange, even with context. 38 Rose Pink Stargirl. I'm realizing how mean the designers have been to Hikari at this point, but Rose Pink Stargirl is a little too messy for me. The rose print stockings clash with the graphic stars in the skirt, and the black accents overall feel quite heavy with this palette. 37 Lady Purple. Lady Purple is a pear dress with Angely Sugar, if I remember correctly, which explains the giant pastel skirt. But the design really doesn't hold up on its own, or as a pair for that matter. I do like these shoes and the top, the skirt just doesn't look integrated into the design. 36 Panther Teacher. Panther Teacher is nice. We're already into designs I genuinely like, this one just has a more basic silhouette. The gold stripe down the center of the skirt may or may not bother you since it creates the illusion of shorts, but I think that's interesting. 35 Wonderful Teacher. Meanwhile, the shapes created by Wonderful Teacher skirt are less successful, but it's a more complex design so I raised it higher. In the underskirt, do you see how the black bottom layer tapers to a point? They should have flipped it upside down to match the diagonal lines of the overskirt. 34 Winston Teacher. Winston Teacher is the same design. I like the blue version better than the green. The random purple in the skirt works a little better here, and the yellow butterfly design in the skirt lining stands out more. 33 Glamorous Blue. There is a fairly major issue with the illustration for Glamorous Blue. The gradient in the skirt lining is way too subtle, and the striped stockings aren't completely working for me. But I like the cocoon shape of the dress. It's very on theme for the brand. The chaos in those bead accents is just barely scraping by. 32 Beauty Blatilla. Beauty Blatilla is another orchid-inspired design, which I'm theorizing is because the Photokatsu designers were aware of orchids being part of Romance Kisses brand concept, which they then copy and pasted onto Spicy Ageha. It also has a flat-looking skirt lining. The dress is pretty, but the choppy color blocking in the bodice is a little too chaotic. 31 Romantic Rose. I really like the black accents in Romantic Rose. I do think the skirt was mishandled though, it might have flowed more nicely if the underskirt matched the color of the overskirt so they look like one piece. 30 Gold and Rose Summer. Gold and Rose Summer is actually balanced very well. My hang up with it is that I don't like the print very much, but there's nothing technically wrong with it. All of the pieces have been detailed quite thoughtfully. 29 Glamorous Rose. I was picking up on a little bit of 60s inspiration for the last design, and Glamorous Rose leans into that same era with mod fashion. It's very unique. I really like the way they blended a vintage feeling silhouette with signature Aikatsu elements like the rose print, jewelry, and corset details. 28 Black Rose Lace. Black Rose Lace is on the simpler side conceptually, but I like how clean the design is. There's some interest in the tied fabric belt, and the black accents are proportioned in a satisfying way. All the lines on these pieces flow very nicely. 27 Mia Dressy Military. Mia Dressy Military is the complete opposite. It's complex and I respect that, but it's also very messy. I can appreciate how hard the designer worked to integrate the camo print naturally, but all of those bodice details feel more like an attempt at distracting from it, which arguably looks even worse. 26 Women's Swallow. Back to clean, simple designs, we have Women's Swallow, which I like because it's a tiny bit more experimental, even though some of those details like the pink trim on the skirt aren't the most cohesive choices. The lines and proportions still feel satisfying to me. 25 Phantom Butterfly. This one was hard to place. Phantom Butterfly feels so classic for Aikatsu that it's actually harder to appreciate it. The pink and purple scarves tied onto the belt work thanks to the scarf at the neck and the butterflies on the gloves. And the red accents help tie in the brown boots, so they get away with it. 24. Black Lace Leopard. I would have put Black Lace Leopard way higher if I could justify it. I adore the leopard print in this design, and the delicate gold details on the stockings. It's a shame they covered up the whole sweater with a pillow. There are a few odd details like the purple shorts ruffle, but I like it. 23. Halloween Night Witch. We get a very basic witch design for Halloween Night Witch. That top is so default Aikatsu tube top it hurts, but I do enjoy all the fuzzy feather accents. The asymmetrical glove and jewelry are nice, and all of the pumpkin accessories are cute too. 22. Leonid Butterfly. I was tempted to put Leonid Butterfly lower because I think the silhouette isn't coming through super clearly here, but if I imagine it without Ron's hair, it looks better. The visual rhythm of all of those sparkly ruffles is very pretty, and balancing them with a smaller shoe works really well. 21. Chic Jewelry Night. Chic Jewelry Night would probably be lower for a lot of people, but for whatever reason the texture layering is working for me. I like the leopard print lace, and maybe it's just the very limited palette that's giving it extra points for me. 20. New Year Butterfly. New Year Butterfly is a lot bolder in its silhouette and in Ron's hairstyle. The visual weight of the sleeves, shoes, and ponytail bring a lot of attention to the neckline, which is supported by the high contrast gold trim. I like how purposeful that focal point is. 19. Royal Butterfly. Royal Butterfly is just pretty. I tend to like the Royal Coord series, and this one is no exception. I like the textures they chose, and the proportions of the pieces, and the subtle fishnet tights. It helps that they only made her wear the rainbow tulle element as an arm ribbon. 18. Hime Dressy Military. I let Hime Dressy Military up this far because I respect its commitment to the camo print. The bodice is a lot more streamlined, and the overall silhouette has a great sense of movement. The contrast between structure and draping is very successful here. 17. Adult Ageha Summer. I'm not a huge fan of the name Adult Ageha Summer, but the skirt design is very pretty and I like it a lot. This is a great way to elevate a swimsuit design, and I'm so sad that I couldn't find a clear image of the shoes. Let's just celebrate the gorgeous colors and bonus hints of asymmetry. 16. Rose Glitter Santa. It is kind of bizarre to have Rose Glitter Santa this high up, you're right. The prints are kind of weird, and the color blocking in the skirt is especially weird, but it's a fluffy trim Santa design, and that is much more important to me. 15. Rose Multicolor. Rose Multicolor is getting a lot of credit for its close-up illustration since the gold details stand out a lot more in that version. But the proportions of the silhouette still work pretty well in the full body version, even if the shoes are a bit underwhelming. I mostly like the novelty of the halter neckline here. 14. Rose Valentine's Day. I'm not sure that it was intentional, but the big chocolate heart applique on the belt makes the silhouette rectangular in a childish, cute way. And the one on the head emphasizes the endearing tilt of the head, which makes it look extra cute. So I'm forgiving how ugly the tights are based solely on cute posing, I guess. 13. Ageha Stargirl. Ageha Stargirl also has a unique silhouette. I appreciate the illusion of a dropped waistline here. All of the elements of this design have been balanced really well, maybe with the exception of the pink skirt trim, but it's not too distracting. I especially like the color blocking of the bodice. 12. Ageha Fly Yukata. For Ageha Fly Yukata, the appeal is all in the organic shapes, and the analogous palette of course. It has just enough structure from the obi defining the bodice, and then the sleeves and skirt are free to expand in these loose triangle shapes, which are again balanced nicely by minimal shoes. 11. Rose Night. It was very difficult not to put Rose Night in my top 10. I absolutely love the prints concept, especially for a brand like Spicy Ageha. The brown leather accents actually work here thanks to the warm palette, and I love how active this design feels while still being glamorous. 10. Emerald Jewelry. Spicy Ageha does surprisingly well with these looser organic shapes, and emerald jewelry is just another example of that. I really love the mix of textures and the variety of ruffle styles they use in this design, and the intricate jewelry, and the color palette. 9. Romantic Gold Knight. Meanwhile, the crazy tiered skirt in Romantic Gold Knight would probably be too much for me if it wasn't this specific gold speckled white fur trim. The houndstooth print also works surprisingly well. It's been pushed far enough over the top that I can accept it. 8. Luxury Magenta. Luxury Magenta is another case where I wish they hadn't obscured the design so much, but from what we can see of the top, it looks like it has some interesting layering. The proportions of the silhouette are probably the strongest element, but I do like the layering of all the pieces. 7. Pink Purple Tree. We have another fluffy Santa-inspired design in Pink Purple Tree. I really like the wide belt on this one and the way the boots repeat that design. The green bow on the skirt should be a problem, but it matches the one on the headband, so I'm sure it's fine. 6. Ageha Noir. If you know what Ageha means, please feel free to let me know. I couldn't figure it out. I do like its design though, especially the butterfly-shaped rhinestoning on the bodice. The gradient blending the top 2 skirt layers together is also very appreciated. A lot of effort went into making the silhouette feel polished. 5. Gigao Cute Devil. Gigao Cute Devil should be a Jolly Devil design. I don't think there's too much room to argue otherwise, but I do really like it and want to see that axe prop very badly. It's fluffy, it's sparkly, it has little bat wings and a tail. What more could you ask for? 4. Devil Chain Knight. I gave Devil Chain Knight most of its points for novelty since the fencing devil concept is a new one for me. I do have a problem with the high contrast lacing in the boots and that big chunky gemstone belt, but the wing shapes and draping are all cool enough to overpower them in my brain. 3. Emperor Leo. Emperor Leo really surprised me, and I briefly considered putting it in first place. It captures the grand, majestic impact that I think the original premium rare was going for, and for once I think all the extra dramatic layers worked in the upgrade's favor. The addition of a green sash on the skirt makes the wings feel more unified too. 2. Rose Hot Phantom. I was also tempted to put Rose Hot Phantom in first place for capturing most of my favorite Spicy Ageha visual tropes. It's got the leopard print and the shoujo thief concept, the rich red and black palette, a cape, and so much more. I'm glad they let so many characters wear it in the game. 1. Snow Amethyst. Despite the fierce competition, Snow Amethyst made it to my #1 spot. The ethereal butterfly wings are just too pretty to ignore. Even my skepticism about the visual noise in the top couldn't outweigh the ambitious asymmetry and the fact that I really like the idea of a Spicy Ageha fairy. Let me know your favorite Spicy Ageha coords in the comments below, and look out for the Rin deep dive in a couple of weeks. Bye bye!